Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Morning Formation. I'm Papa Kilo. I'm your host. And today I'm very fortunate to be here with Frank. He's the co-founder of the famous Crayons Ready-to-Eat, also known as CRE, making everyone one crayon eater at a time. Frank, thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
I can't tell you how many friends of mine I have been guilty of calling crayon eaters. Hats off to you and your partner thinking of something so innovative and clever, coming up with something like this. It's innovative and just hilarious.
Yeah, it's something that I stumbled across on, and I'll give you a bit of a backstory. So, yes, I'm a Marine. I spent 7.5 years in the Marine Corps. I started out, went to security forces, and then went back to my primary MOS of 0311. And then while I was there, I ended up coaching recruits on the rifle range for about a year, about two and a half, about maybe like a little bit over 2 years. And then I went to finish my career up in Camp Lejeune back in the infantry. And it was right around shortly after when the towers were hit in 9/11. And we were trying to go up, got my back messed up more than it already was, and couldn't go over to deployment. They wouldn't let me go. So I ended up getting out. So I only did 7.5 years, but they were a major impact in my life. I graduated high school June 1st of 95. June 7th, my feet were on the yellow footprints at Parris Island, South Carolina, going to boot camp for the Marine Corps. So it was an immediate transition from high school straight to boot camp. No, the Marine Corps has played a pretty critical part in my life because it was the beginning of my life, and it taught me real quick how to be a man and how to grow up and how to take action and work together as a team and stuff like that. Just to give everybody those that are that are active duty listeners or just freshly got out and everything, I'm going to tell you, do not do what I did. I got away from the veteran military community. I moved back to the home area and just went to work, grind, working for somebody else, family life, taking care of the kids and everything else, and trying to do a lot of things on my own. It wasn't until about 7 years ago that I got back into the veteran community. And I'm 43. It's a pretty large gap to be able to, lose your band of brothers. And I started realizing that it wasn't, I didn't miss the circus. I missed the clowns that were in it. And finding that tribe that resonates with you in whatever industry you're doing, but always find your veteran brother and sisters. You're going to get so much more out of it, and you're going to be able to be a little bit more sane. So when you get out, do not lose your brotherhood and sisterhood. Find your veteran and military buddies. So that's my one word advice to those of you listeners that you've got, that are transitioning or still in, think about getting out.
I can definitely agree with you there, Frank. I was guilty of the same thing as well. I got out of the military and joined corporate America, and I was reading a little bit about you, and it sounds like you did the same thing too, where you got out and you joined the civilian world, the civilian employment side of things. You didn't really find what you were looking for, and I had the same thing too. I started working in aeronautics right off the bat. They went on a big hiring frenzy as far as hiring military officers. So there were 7 of us that they brought in. And by the end of the first year, 6 of us had left just because of the lack of what we felt like respect that we had. A lot of the other supervisors there saw us as threats and didn't really bring us in. Whereas in the military, we're all about building each other up. We're all about, if you're an NCO or if you're a squad leader, you help out the lower enlisted and you bring them up. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of us couldn't find. We found more backstabbing and things of that nature. So we all kind of went to the 4 winds afterwards. But I can identify with what you're saying there, and I can double down on that. If you get out of the military, do not try to separate yourself and try to gel back into the rest of society, because it's just not going to happen. Like, you still need your brothers and sisters that you served with who you can talk to. You saying that is actually, it really hits home for me because I did the exact same thing.
And for me, I still get, I get into the group, and I'm like, I'm still not used to it. I'm not used to having people help it. And I've made mistakes. I've done, made wrong decisions within business and coordinating with some people and stuff. And we're all human. One thing that the Crayons have done is, and that I'll tell you has been a up and down roller coaster ride for itself. For me, going to the corporate America working for somebody else, it got to be monotonous. It got to be, a big drain on me mentally and everything. And I'm like, I always got to be doing something. So my kids got older. I said, screw it. I quit my job, cashed out my 401k, and I started a woodworking business. I'm a well-rounded guy. I can make anything pretty much out of wood, and I don't have a niche. And I that's one thing that I'm working on, is niching down on that aspect. That's on the side burner right now because of crayons. And it was through woodworking that Crayons Ready-to-Eat was born. I got connected with a local high school helping out with their color guard team, and they needed a giant frame for a prop for them to jump through in and out of. So instead of making this big old fancy elaborate frame, it was like, okay, get a sheet of plywood, blow up a picture frame, stick it on there, and they wanted to know if it could be colored. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can color it. So I started color with crayons, because whenever you wear down a crayon, you get another crayon of the same brand. It blends in pretty close and nicely. So I put a crayon in my mouth and switched colors and started mulling on the thing. And I started thinking afterwards, is there truly an edible crayon? Now, for those jarheads and those Marines that are listening, I'm going to tell you right now, whoever started calling us Crayon Eaters became my blessing. Because when I got out in '02, we were not called Crayon Eaters. I never heard it, didn't have a clue. I was a grunt, jarhead, ground pounder, but I never got called a Crayon Eater. And of course, being in social media with business, you see, things happening, and Marines out there making videos of them eating crayons and stuff. And I'm like, okay, in true Marine fashion, we embrace every joke that is given towards us. We don't get pissed off. We don't throw a fit. We're like, all right, screw it. We'll just embrace them. We'll just start eating crayons. You want to call us that? Here you go. We're going to do it.
One of my good buddies is a Marine, and I'm constantly calling him Jarhead, Crayon Eater, but he's got his own names for me too, because I was in the Army. I can tell you, when I served in OIF in 2004, 2005, I was in, like you, I was in before September 11th. And then I deployed to Iraq. And I can tell you that I think we all had a newfound respect for each other. I worked with the Marines in Mosul, Iraq on several occasions, and I was extremely impressed with the way they operated. When I came back, I noticed that there's a big difference now as far as the camaraderie between the Army specifically and the Marines, because specifically the Marines and the Army, literally right there on the ground in Iraq, doing a lot of the groundwork. A lot of camaraderie there, a lot of reciprocity between both branches. Like you said, there's nothing but love whenever I'm calling my buddy a Crayon Eater or Jarhead or Leatherneck or Devil Dog, but a lot of respect there. And a lot of civilians don't understand that. They don't get it. Like, they think, well, why are you saying that? Why are you calling that? Well, this guy or gal's got my back. And that's something that you'll probably never understand, as a civilian. But, as a military person, or even first responders, it's kind of an unspoken thing between us, a relationship that we have.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things is just by the way we walk, the way we look, we can just be walking somewhere and look at somebody and we immediately have a connection, just because one way we look and the way we walk.
Exactly.
And two, all we got to do is say a couple words and we're like, good to go. We're sitting there having a full conversation. And you got your civilian people that are like, do you know him? No, we just met. Really? It sounded like no. Like we know each other.
Exactly. I mean, I have to tell people all the time that, it's right around, I think the percentage of people who have ever served is right around like 5% of the US population. So it is a fairly exclusive group of people who actually raise their hand and step up and take on the sacrifices of time, energy, and being apart from your loved ones. It's not something that a whole lot of people choose to do. When you do run into another person that is, was in the military or whatever, it's like a, hey brother, hey sister, what's up? Let's talk. Where are you stationed at? And talk about the good times, the tough times that you look back on now and you think, wow, I wish I could go back.
Yeah, like I said, we missed it. We don't really miss the circus. We miss the clowns that are in it.
I want to talk about the CRE Crayons Ready-to-Eat. I saw your motto, making everyone one crayon eater at a time. Very clever. And then I want to talk about the crowdsourcing that you're currently doing right now.
How the event of me gnawing on a crayon and looking at everybody, the joke of being called Crayon Eaters, I didn't know how to do it, didn't have a clue. So I spent a little time and I did some research, and I found a company in Singapore that said, keyword said, they made chocolate crayons, but they took out the scent and taste of chocolate and sugar to deter people and children from eating them. I'm like, so you just made a crayon? No, I want people to eat this shit. So that's when I knew it had to be made out of chocolate. Now, as we have a tendency, we forget a lot, and we then eventually remember things that we dealt with, the people we've interacted with.
Right.
When I worked at O'Reilly Auto Parts, when the old store manager was leaving and I took over as a store manager, one of the team members brought in these amazing peanut butter truffles that were better than any Reese's cup that I ever tasted. We started picking her, the outgoing boss started picking her brain, and found out that she had went to school for a few semesters to be a pastry chef. Life bills, trying to get out, on her own and everything. She had to go to work and she didn't finish. So I had that in my mental Rolodex. And I reached out to her and said, hey, I got this idea. I need to see if you've ever dealt with making chocolate right. She's like, we didn't cover that. I'm like, any chance that you might be able to figure it out? She's like, I'll try. And that's all she had to tell me. Now, Cassandra, her dad was Army, her brother was Army. She's very supportive of the military. So she understands and she gets it. She grew up with it. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, she's sending me a video of her actually making chocolate right. And we recently just posted it on our social media on of the first ever CRE that was created to get this thing started. We spent a year on and off trying to figure it out, trying to, see what we can do to make it work, make it functional, make it where it wouldn't break and stuff. And finally, I got connected with a Marine rapper through Bunker Lab and the Veteran in Residence program. And it was through him that I ended up making a woodworking project, delivered it to him. And we were talking. He asked, if we got anything else going on. I told him about the crayons, and he just went ecstatic and invited me to bring some down, that networking event that was coming on, see him, showing what we got. And it literally blew up from there. It was all of a sudden, now this is real. Now it's like, okay, we're taking this to the next step. And if you look back through our social media, on Instagram in particular, we connected with a bunch of female Marine models. They were doing a photo shoot, and Samantha Bonita had asked, she was sitting there and told Mike Sowers, owner of Forge Clothing, hey, remind me, before we go to the next photo shoot, we need to pick up some crayons. And that was my opportunity to say, well, hey, I've got something even better for you. It ended up being, blown up from there. It gave her some crayons. They put together a video. Within the first week, it had over 500,000 views on it, spread out between everybody sharing it. It was like, uh-oh. We had no website, no nothing. We literally, the day that we introduced it to them, set up the social media, it just kept going. Time to take action and kind of do how we do things. We did things very unorthodox in the business aspect. Ended up launching. And within the first week and a half of launching, we decided, okay, we're going to ship our product. Well, first couple of weeks, we decided we're going to, let's see what we can do. Put together a website, put it out there, made about 100 and some sales. And then all of a sudden we got a phone call from the county. The county had ended up calling us and telling us that we're in violation of so many fines that we almost got fined $10,000. And we were like, uh-oh, we had no clue. We didn't know anything about the food industry, and we didn't have a health permit. We didn't have packaging. We didn't have, meet FDA labeling guidelines, all that. And luckily they gave us a warning, walked us through the steps to get us our cottage food permit, which allowed us to do direct sales. And then in from the direct sales part, we ended up, driving the traffic, getting in, in events. And that happened for us at the end of March of 2019. All of a sudden, we're going through, trying to get things situated. We're trying to figure out what we got to do. And we're getting people asking us, can you ship? Can you ship? Can you ship? Well, as a cottage food permit, we're not allowed to ship our product. And so we lost out a lot of sales in that one. We actually got reached out by the NRA. We had to turn down an $8,000 order with the National Rifle Association because we couldn't ship, and they wanted us to be in their national conference. So that was the downfall. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, and we got shut down. I ended up going back to work because I had to pay the bills, had to make ends meet. The woodworking wasn't doing that great, and I was into transitioning from the house I was in. Wasn't able to, do much of the stuff there with the way things were going there. So like, what do you do? So I went back to work during the whole COVID experience. And beginning of the year, this app comes out called Clubhouse. And whenever the Clubhouse came on, it was like, all right, and I started listening and started talking to people, getting into stuff. And it's like, it's a good networking tool. Started listening to a lot of these big name, high-end people that are making money saying, you got to get into a mastermind, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then while I was there, I found another veteran community. With Clubhouse, got into a club called Veterans Network, started connecting with veterans, got into the Facebook group, Vetrepreneur Tribe. It helped me exponentially. And how quickly things happen is I got connected with a guy named Joey. He runs the Mobile Cigar Lounge up in New Jersey. Started talking about things. got connected with DP, Brian, his team with Veterans Network. And February 10th, we launched it. Well, actually, let me back up. February 8th, I ended up coming down with COVID. I got quarantined, wasn't going to work, and I'm like, I can't sit here and do nothing. It's the opportunity to push the business. And with the connections and listening to them, we're like, okay, it's time to, hit the ground running again. Started a club on veterans, the Veterans Network, Veteran Meal Spouse Mastermind on Clubhouse, and helped me get information on how to get things going. So February 10th, we got the business as an LLC. Shortly thereafter that, got hooked up with a business coach to get us a business plan, pitch deck, all that stuff. We started hosting rooms, getting more involved into them. Found a guy with a crowdfunding platform that just started in July, where he focused on military and first responders. It's called Fund the First. They verify everybody through ID Me. In this process, I didn't know how much we needed. I talked to, different people, and we've got connected with several people in the food manufacturing and the chocolate manufacturing candy companies and we knew we needed to get into a commercial facility in order to be able to ship our product. We didn't know much about it. We didn't know how. And through Clubhouse, we got those connections, and we estimated we need about $75,000 between licensing, permitting, packaging, labeling. And this crowdfunding came along. Fund the First is no minimums. They worked with me one-on-one, and we got the crowdfunding up in a matter of 6 hours. We don't get penalized if we don't meet our goal. We start, it's phenomenal. If you're military or law enforcement and you're looking for crowdfunding, I recommend using Fund the First. It's different than any other crowdfunding platform that is out there. It's only been going on for about 6 days now. We want to be able to meet our motto of turning everyone into a crayon eater, one CRE at a time. And we're not saying, okay, go out and buy a box of crayons and eat them. We deliberately made our crayons look different than the normal crayon. One, you get more chocolate. Two, they don't roll off the table. And three, parents and NCOs and everybody can decipher to the kids and the lowers, eat or don't eat.
That's important.
Now we're here trying to get the funding so we can be able to ship our CREs to as many people as we can.
The actual box itself, for people that are listening, the CREs, the actual branding of the box is really cool. It reminds you of the old MREs. I'm not sure what they look like today, but back when I was in, the MREs had the desert dirty brown color, and then they had the MREs across the front, and then the CREs are designed similar to that. So to bring even more of a nostalgic MRE feel to the whole brand, I mean, that's genius in itself. Your whole packaging is freaking awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah, and I knew I wanted to go towards, my era of the MREs. Now, mind you, I went through the transition of the dark brown packaging to the ones that you see that are similar to the CREs, and that's what we modeled it after, is the Meals Ready-to-Eat, of course, Crayons Ready-to-Eat. So we initially started out making crayon boxes at home, printing them on a printer on cardstock, cutting them out, folding them. And then when we finally started getting a little bit of funding, we found, the pouches, and we ended up creating the pouches to actually look like our goal was of looking at an MRE style pouch.
Yeah, I was actually watching the 5-minute video that you have on YouTube, and it showed how you were cutting out the boxes and forming the boxes and whatnot. Sounds like this kind of took a mind of its own early on. I mean, it just took off on its own, and a lot of the things you guys have been learning on the way as you go, and there's been a lot of bumps and bruises, but you've had a don't quit attitude this whole time about it. No matter if it's the $10,000 fine that the county tried to throw at you or the shipping issues that you've had, you still have that Marine mentality, man, where you don't quit. And that's what I love about Marines. That's what I love about the military in general. And talked about Clubhouse as well. Yeah, I just got on Clubhouse about 2 weeks ago. I feel like Clubhouse is pretty much owned by veterans at this point, because every time I'm in there, as I mentioned earlier, we're only 5% of the U.S. population. But when you're in that Veterans Network room, you feel like we're 99%, because, veteran-wise, everyone together is stronger together. And networking and talking to other veterans and getting information. I myself have actually spoken to several people in there who have connected me with other people who have helped me instead of going through the bumps and bruises of, this whole podcasting thing, they've actually told me some shortcuts on how I can avoid a lot of those things, which is extremely helpful. That whole platform in general, I'm thankful that I actually ran across it.
The Veterans Network is the biggest veteran Clubhouse group that is on Clubhouse right now. Right now, I think it's 1.4 or 1,400 followers.
Wow.
So anytime anybody, comes in, everybody gets pinged on it. But, the whole, and I'm telling you, we have that don't quit, don't give up attitude, but we do have, our moments and we get discouraged and we're human. And through a lot of this, I've backslid and, like I said, I've made some mistakes and stuff like that. And especially, now that it's like seeing that finally we're getting some more traction and we're moving into that right direction, it gives you that motivation, especially whenever you realize, again, you can't do it alone. And I have the support and I have the things and, there's people that's helped us out along the way. And we're definitely making sure that once we get the crowdfunding, that we're those that have helped us with video, those that have helped us with, a little bit of funding, and those that have helped us, get marketing and stuff that, we make sure that we take care of them, because without them, we wouldn't be where we are.
Exactly. And for anyone that's listening, if you're looking for information, I'm going to put in the description for the podcast and on my Instagram and on all my social media platforms. I'm going to be putting information on Crayons Ready-to-Eat and also the crowdsource link, where you can find a link for you to help donate and get this off the ground and get this awesome veteran-owned idea going and get it global and get it shipped. As you just said, you had to turn down an 8,000.
Yeah, it was 8,000.
Yeah.
And we've estimated that we've lost between individual sales and communications and emails and comments between around 60 to 80,000 in sales that we've lost because we could not ship, But it was the NRA one was a really big disappointment that we could not fill that order.
Right. Yeah. And just imagine how many people, even at that conference, that they would have had, how many people would have seen it and shared it and spread it across. You're right. I mean, total $80,000, $8,000 for the business loss, but think about all the extra branching out notoriety that you could have possibly had for that. So yeah, that was really huge. But I'm glad to hear that, you're in Clubhouse now and you're able to link up with other veterans who can help you with, the whole business side of things and get things off the ground. I'm definitely going to be donating to the crowdfunding, and I'm going to be sharing your links for crowdfunding as well, and try to help out as much as I can on my end. Going forward, where do you see CRE going next?
Well, next is, of course, getting a facility to be able to ship. We want to be at every Marine Corps ball. We want to be at every retirement ceremony for Marines, and we want, other branches to be able to give those, those gag gifts to their buddies and, back home. We want to be on the military-based stores, the PXs, the NXs, and all those. And we want to be in the homes of parents that, have kids, to give them some of the little, encouragement to use their creativity through coloring, but also be able to enjoy a snack, a little treat while they're doing so, and potentially get into restaurants and where they can have them, where kids can color in and enjoy them while they're waiting for their food or at the end of their food type situation. And the options are endless, but ultimately, our main target is towards the military and their families and veterans. We know this is going to be a place for parents with kids as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's excellent. I could definitely see. I mean, even if you weren't in the military, I think it's super genius how you've actually decided to go away from actually making it look like a crayon so that kids can tell the difference. But still, nonetheless, the packaging and the branding is really, really awesome. Now, I'm just curious to know, the actual word crayon, is that trademarked or anything, or have you guys had any issues with that?
It's a touchy subject. We have tried to patent our idea. We can't. We've tried to copyright it and we've tried to trademark. It's not necessarily because of the word crayon. It is because of the full name, Crayons Ready-to-Eat. It is too descriptive and it describes exactly what it is. In that aspect, by the trademark office and the copyright offices, we've already lost the funds that we've put to apply for those. We've lost those funds because they're like, yeah, you can't get it done because it's too descriptive.
That's weird.
Yeah. So it's we've got enough traction that, we've got the name out there, got the LLC form now. Hopefully, if there's anything that comes along that we can deal with it, but we're the first, and we plan on being, here for a while.
I kind of dabbled in the whole invention LLC thing for a while, and for some of these things that come up, it's just about branding, and it's just about getting out there first and getting out there fast. That way, the public knows that there's only one CRE, and this is what it looks like. Sometimes it's not about copyright and the trademark and stuff. But I can't believe that. That sounds pretty insane that it was too descriptive. I've never ever heard that before, but super glad to hear that you guys are killing it and you're taking it one day at a time, but you're making forward progress on this, because I think it's an awesome business idea. If you're listening out there, make sure you go to the link and you support this veteran-owned business, because at the end of the day, folks are trying to make it, and they're trying to push such a great product like this. And getting off the ground is the toughest thing. But once you're off the ground, I mean, things can take on its own. And it sounds like Frank here has gone through a lot of pitfalls, but hey, it sounds like things are going to be up and up from here on out. And, as COVID starts lifting and things start to get better, I mean, your business is only going to take off from there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Like I said, all anybody's got to do is just search Crayons Ready-to-Eat. They can go to our website, crayonsreadytoeat.com. We're on most of the social media. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok now. And we're on Twitter. Everything's at Crayons Ready-to-Eat except for Twitter. It's at Crayons_R_E. We just ask that right now through this crowdfunding stage that if you can't donate, share us. Please get us out there. Help us get to that $75,000 goal so we can be able to ship and get them to everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything just to share the actual links for the Instagram or the Facebook. It doesn't cost you a thing to do that. And I'd love to order some of these.
Yeah. And one of the things with our crowdfunding, if you pick one of the tiers, once we're able to ship, you will get some CREs in your hands, whether it's one package, whether it's a case. And we do sell the shirt, that I'm wearing on our website. It's Crayon Eater. And on the back of it, we do have our logo, our infamous Lance Corporal Crunch, crouching down, eating crayons on the back. And that's another way they can support us, is buy a t-shirt from us, help us, in that aspect. It's been and Savage Infidel has been a major, asset in us getting the t-shirts done. The link on our website takes you to the link directly onto their page. So we can they take the order and they do the direct shipping right there for us. So Savage Infidel has, helped us get these t-shirts going as well. Can't donate, or, you want to support or whatever else, and you just want to proudly say, hey, you're a Crayon Eater, go ahead and buy one of our shirts too, please.
So you said your crowdfunding was only up for 6 days, and you guys have already raised a couple $1,000s, right? Let's try to get that up to 75,000 and help out. So altogether, timeline wise, from beginning when you were asked to help out with that school to today, we're talking about maybe 2 years.
Well, that's September 2017. We spent a year tinkering, and we officially launched in September 2018. So yeah, it's only been a few years.
Wow. So things have been moving. Yeah, things have been moving fairly quick for you. That's excellent though. Sounds like we covered everything as far as CRE. Really excited to have you on the podcast today. You're one of the more innovative and creative businesses that I've seen in a long time. I'm glad that I was able to talk to one of the co-founders of this awesome idea, and I'm looking forward to supporting it, and I'm looking forward to marketing it and helping you get out there, because like you said at the very beginning, you don't want to get away from your veteran community. We want to support each other, we want to help each other out as much as possible. We can do that through Clubhouse. We can do that through different types of social media. Is there anything in summary that you'd like to say about CRE or anything at all?
No, the only thing that I can say is, get out there and tell your story and network, get involved where you can. But if you have an idea, you have a passion, you have something that you want to be able to do, take action, make it happen, and get involved with people that can help you get there. You don't need to do it alone. And if anybody, has any questions on how to get a business started or get things going, reach out. I'm more than willing to help, pay it forward, share the information that I know, help out where I can. But make it happen, do it, go for it. Put one boot, keep your boots on the ground, one foot in front of the other, and adapt and overcome.
That's right. That's exactly right. So today is a special day because I actually got a chance to meet you, Frank. First time for face-to-face. I've spoken to you over Clubhouse, and we've communicated back and forth through email. But today is also my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Going to go out and celebrate a little bit. And I'm hoping at some point I can order me some CREs and chow down on those and leave those on my Marine Corps buddy's desk. But I'm going to be buying some merch. If anyone listening is interested in any of that stuff, please go to my Instagram. You can also find this in the description for the podcast that you're listening to right now. I'm going to put it all out there, help support. I want to thank you for your time today. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, and I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. It's my honor and it's a pleasure.
All right, sir. It's been all the best. I thank you so much, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Morning Formation. This is Papa Kilo, and we're out. You've been listening to the Morning Formation podcast. I hope you found today's materials helpful and of value to your current situation. You can connect with me on Instagram at _morning_formation_podcast, or you can connect with me via email at theformationpodcaster@gmail.com. Also, I would like to thank my partners at Act Now Education for their support. Authenticity, community, and trusted is what you can expect from all members of the Act Now Education team. You can link up with them today and learn about some new free educational resources on their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or at their website, actnoweducation.com. Whether today's show took you back to a nostalgic time or helped you think about tomorrow, thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again. Stay safe and stay motivated. Warriors, fall out.